Maybe want to give a little bit of a background on what you've started, and then...
Who here, raise your hand if you actually know what Nick's business is. Cool, thank you. You're a celebrity. Beaver, St. Cloud. Okay, keep going.
I started a clothing line. Been working on it for about 3 years. We launched December 21st, and we're going to be selling unique limited edition apparel that focuses on pushing positivity. We're releasing 9 items in December, 3 t-shirts, 3 sweatshirts, and 3 hats. We plan to have a release come out every season after that, with releasing more limited edition stuff in between once we're sold out of our seasons here. And I'm working on starting a non-profit side of it called Cloudy Cares, and I want to release that after the first year of being in business.
Cool. All right, so how much time do I have?
Oh, 1 minute. Oh, 2 o'clock.
So 1 o'clock exactly?
2 o'clock.
So
2
2.
o'clock rather?
2.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Not 1:50, not 1:55, 2?
Some people just might have class and they have to leave. I don't.
Slackers.
Yeah, no.
Before I dig in, let me just get an idea. How many of you actually have to be out here to absolutely must be out to? Okay, that's cool. All right. So I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name.
Nick.
Nick. So Nick's got a clothing line. I'm going to ask you some questions rapid fire. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Who makes your clothes?
I do. I decorate them.
Okay.
We have
Who's
different.
actually manufacturing them?
We have lots of different places.
Okay. And then how are you selling them? How do people find you?
We're not selling them. I'm giving them away to opinion leaders and people like that, but they cannot buy them until December 21st, and then it'll be available on our website.
Did you pick that day for a reason?
We were looking to launch around that time, and it's the end of the world, and we're kind of trying to start like a revolution.
Wait, what?
It's supposed to be like the end of the world, December 21st, on the Mayan
I
calendar.
didn't get the email. Oh, yeah, mine. Okay.
And so a lot of people know that date for that, and we want to start some sort of like revolution about positivity, you know, pushing positivity as much as we can. So we figured it'd be a perfect day to start the beginning, you know, rather than the end.
Okay.
And we really liked that idea, so just kind of ran with it.
Okay. As you answer my questions, I'm going to kind of zip feedback at you, if that's okay with you. It's not optimal, it's not the best kind of way to have a conversation, but for the sake of everyone, sorry I'm just moving this, I feel like there's a big barrier between me and you guys, I don't like it. Kind of a weird vibe. The best way I know possible to let you know my thought process, all of you guys, about what's important and what isn't. I think if there's anything that experience teaches you, it doesn't matter if it's startups or whatever it is, whether it's skateboarding, whether it's playing guitar, whether it's how to be in a band effectively. Is anybody here in a band? Okay. Whether it's just, dating. It's like when you're in your first, I'll use a dating example. When you have your first girlfriend or boyfriend, then like everything's a big deal, right? Like the minute they don't call you back in 10 minutes, you're like, oh my God, they're freaking out, like they don't love me anymore. Right? I think you guys can probably think back and remember those days. Probably high school maybe. Your first real boyfriend, your first real girlfriend, like everything was a big deal, right? Everything was dramatic. Everything was worth like getting depressed about and thinking about cutting yourself. Maybe not. But, and then the second girlfriend and third and boyfriend and the fourth and fifth, and all of a sudden you start to mellow out and you start realizing what things are a big deal, worth getting upset about, and what things aren't. And it's that way in everything in life, right? So, and as you get older, you start realizing there's very few things in life worth getting really upset about, or really freaking out about, or really stressing out about. So what I want to do is, through osmosis, share with you my thought process about everything that has done, is going through, and will go through right now, in hopes that you guys can distill how it is that I think about businesses and launching and growing and being successful and positioning your product in a very crowded marketplace, which he's in, which is clothing. Odds are that your first company that you launch, whatever it is going to be in a very crowded space. meaning you won't have 5 or 10 competitors, you'll have hundreds, maybe even thousands. And it's incumbent upon you, if you actually want to succeed, to be not just kind of different, not just a little bit different, but ridiculously different. A good way to think about your product or service, if you happen to start a service, which is probably more likely, because those kind of companies are cheaper to launch, is to think about, why would somebody hire my service or hire my product? And think about it as if you're hiring an employee, okay? So think about this. If you're a boss, you're a manager, and you're hiring an employee, okay, there's a lot that goes into that, quite a bit of investment. You want to make sure this guy's cool. You want to make sure this girl is responsible. You want to make sure they're going to jive with your culture. You want to make sure that you're not going to exert and invest all this time and energy into training and making them a good employee, and then they're going to flake on you 3 months later. Hiring a person is a big investment and a big decision. And all of your consumers or prospective consumers are the exact same. They have the exact same mentality. If I'm going to buy this, it's an investment. My time, my money, if it's clothing, my identity. And you have to think, it has to just not be like marginally better than what I think is out there or what I see out there. It's got to be quite a bit better. And the good news is that with clothing, a person doesn't have to commit their entire wardrobe to his brand. But, although I'm sure he'd love for that to happen eventually, right? If their whole closet is nothing but his stuff. But whenever you're thinking about your product and you're thinking about, is it good enough? Is it good enough for people to buy? Is it good enough to cut through the clutter, the noise of this world, and for people to actually find out about it, and to visit the website, or visit my Facebook page, and actually interact with my Facebook page, and interact with my website, and go all through the way through and click, and check out, and actually buy a sweater? What kind of gear are you starting out with?
Right now we just have t-shirts and sweatshirts for promo gear.
Okay.
And December we're releasing t-shirts, crew necks, sweatshirts, and then stocking and
Hats?
snapback hats.
Stocking hats? Okay, good. Think about people buying your product or your service as if they were hiring your product or service. Because it puts you in the right frame of mind to say, you know, I don't think buying my sweatshirt is that big of a deal. It's only $24. It's very quick and easy, and it looks good. But you're not putting yourself in their shoes where it's a little bit tougher than that. There's way more paradox of choice. There are a bajillion hooded sweatshirts out there in the world that you can buy, many of which are probably cheaper than his. They have the same vibe, same look, same story to tell that his do, but not everyone wants that. Do you have any kind of online presence right now?
Yep.
Cool. Which is what?
Facebook, Twitter, Dribble, Instagram. Cool.
Well, you're in all the right places, which is good. I would, as quickly as possible, try to figure out which ones are a waste of your time. When you're in 4 different places at one time, odds are you're not getting kick-ass results from all 4. So I'm not saying this week, this month, you know, not even by mid-next year to figure that out, but pretty quickly start to learn, start to realize where all your biggest champions are, where they reside, where they're active, and that's part of you figuring out what your demographic is. If you're trying to be everywhere online at the beginning, that's good because you got to see what sticks. Right? Have you guys ever heard of the spaghetti approach? Just throw it against the wall and see what sticks. That's cool for the first couple months, but you just cannot sustain that. I don't care if it's your marketing strategy. I don't care if it's who you're trying to sell your product or your service to by like going to everyone and seeing who will actually say yes. You have to do that at the beginning, but you can't do that forever. So maybe Facebook ends up being like his mecca, is like the water cooler for his target demographic, the kind of people that actually like his stuff, get his stuff, appreciate his stuff, and will talk about his stuff. Maybe it's not Facebook. Maybe next fall, he's going to be like, yeah, Facebook is just like, it's there, but I don't spend much time on it. Pinterest is where all my action's at. Maybe it's not Pinterest. Maybe it's going to be something else. You know, part of it depends on where all these tools go over the next couple of years. So, I'm trying to pick up on each thing you say and just elaborate a little bit. And that is, pay very close attention to not just what tends to get conversation, right? Which platform, which of these social media platforms get attention, but which one actually drives people to wherever it is that they buy, which I'm guessing is your website or your future website. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. People are talking about you. If you don't make dollars, it don't make sense. They got to buy. And Google's very nice to make a free tool called Google Analytics. Whenever you have a website up and going, ready to rock and roll, you just plug in this code. It takes 5 minutes. Google Analytics, you know where all of your web traffic is coming from. Like coming from Pinterest, you get 100 people from Pinterest this week, great. Maybe Pinterest is a good lead generator, good pipeline for you of bringing the right kind of customers, not just people that are browsing, people that want to buy and will buy and are buying. You should never be guessing anymore. This is 2013, almost. If you ever have a website, you should never be guessing where people are coming from and where your buyers are coming from. If you're guessing, something is very wrong. It's not an art anymore, it's a science. There's too many tools out there that break down analytics for you. You can know exactly where all your customers and your best customers are coming from. If they're not coming from Facebook, don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. It's not a good spending of your time. What are your thoughts on a website?
Well, we have one up right now, and it's just pretty basic and has Facebook and Twitter links.
Okay.
And we're working on our one for December.
Cool.
It's going to be a WordPress site with our own cart platform. I didn't want to go through like Big Cartel or any of the side ones that brings you to an off-site. It's going to have it's going to be very simple. Have a bar at the top with different icons, and then a big rectangle slideshow bar with like 5 different rotating photos, and then 3 smaller boxes underneath with one of them's going to be like Instagram feed pictures rotating,
Nice.
and then another one will be for the shop, or we're going to have like a featured item, and then the last one will be the blog.
Okay. Cool. Let's focus right now, and we might focus a good 10 minutes on this. Oh, by the way, I want to point out some things. Number one, he's using WordPress, which is solid, awesome, good call. When you launch a website for anything, I don't care how simple or complex your whatever it is that you're going to start is. I don't care if you're starting if you start a conference, it'd be pretty cool. Maybe you're starting a company, maybe you're starting a consulting company. You know, my second business was a consulting business. I started a marketing consulting firm. Had 5 employees at my peak. I was 20, I was a sophomore. Had 18 clients. I had 12 on retainer simultaneously at one time. Just meaning they're paying me a monthly fee just to be at their service. So when they pick up the phone call and call me and say, Casey, we need help with X, Y, or Z, I don't say, I'll get to it in a month. I say, I'll get to it right now. That was very easy to launch a consulting company. But the good news is also, that was a pretty easy website to scrap together. Whatever it is, whatever your business, whatever website you want to start, use WordPress. It's a no-brainer. WordPress can do anything that you need it to do. There's a reason why it's so popular. It's got any plugin you could possibly need, even for e-commerce. It's got any social plugin you could possibly want if you're building a tribe, which is what he's doing. He's building a tribe of like-minded people that all self-identify in a similar fashion. And WordPress is a no-brainer. Use WordPress. Unless if it's a very temporary thing, like you just need a website for 3 months, then I would use Weebly.com, just free. But if you're launching a business, do not go out. Spend time, spend energy, spend money trying to find some dude in India or trying to find somebody on campus to create a website from scratch. 7 years ago, maybe that was necessary. Today, no. There's far too many platforms out there that make it super dead simple that in one night in 3 hours, 6-pack of PBR, you can get it done. So kudos for using WordPress. I want to back up and talk about if he's even starting the right kind of business. And here's what I mean by that. If there's any one business book in this world that you should read, it's a book called Purple Cow. The good news is it's thin. I know what it's like to be in college. I know that reading yet one more book is not exciting for you at all. Purple Cow. And the beautiful thing about this book is it changes the way that you look at every billboard, every restaurant, everything in your life forever. Because purple cows are what people pay attention to. They don't pay attention to black and white cows or brown cows. And the question you need to always be asking yourself is, is my business, is my product, is my clothing line, is my whatever, is it really truly a purple cow? Is there absolutely nothing like it out there right now today? So be honest with me, level with the crew here. What's the closest thing to you out there right now?
There's this one clothing line that I follow a lot,
Mhm.
and they've recently started another line under their main line,
Okay.
and it's called Positive PMA Threads, Positive Mental Attitude.
Right on.
So that's the closest thing I can think of.
Okay. And the company that's rolling this out, are they pretty large? Pretty
Yeah.
sizable? Okay. So it's safe to say that your number one competitor, which is going to be this company, right? Most similar to you, right? Yes.
Yep.
Is already established, already has reach, already has head start on you, probably has a much bigger mailing list than you do, probably has a much more Facebook followers than you do, probably has at least better odds of getting distribution into the retail stores if that's their goal, or if they're already in stores, then they've already got that reach in, right? So they've already got a good head start on you. So does that mean you can't beat them, right? Or it does not mean that you still can't grow a successful business and be making, I don't know, grossing $250K within a year and $75K of that being profit, right? But what it does mean is that you have to be different enough from them so that when people come searching and looking for something like you, that they can find you without you getting lost in the clutter, right? And the way that everyone finds everything is Google. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, how do you position yourself and create a website in which you actually rank on the first page of Google, right? There's a term for that in the industry. You guys know what that's called? Ranking highly in Google?
Well, you use search engine optimization.
There you go, SEO.
work.
You do not have to be an SEO expert, but you do have to spend at least 10 hours of your life researching it and learning about it and feeling like you have a good grasp on it. You don't need to hire anybody to do it for you. You do not have to hire a consultant. 10 hours of research will do it for you. But the key here is that a couple things. Number one, he's got to make sure that his company name is not confusing with this other company name. So what was the name of this other clothing line?
I think it's Positive Mental Attitude.
What's the name of yours?
Cloudy Clothing.
What, Cloudy?
Cloudy.
What's your logic behind Cloudy Clothing?
Well, just based out of St. Cloud.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't
And
even get that. Okay.
our slogan is Elevate Your Lifestyle. So clouds being elevating or
Okay.
elevated.
How do you guys feel about his naming?
It's
It's awesome.
I think when you see his product line, it looks really cool and gives you a lot better idea of what his whole concept and everything behind his product is and
Definitely.
what culture it fits into.
Right on. Cool. So you said it's creative, right?
Yeah, I like how your shirts will only be in existence for a certain time period, and then you start a new design, so they're limited.
Right on. And if that's going to be a selling point, you just got to make sure that it's crystal clear on the homepage of your website. Like that's one of your things, is that, you know, this shirt that you guys are, the sweatshirt right now that you're promoting on right now, you know, you got 6 months to act, you got 4 months to act. It's not going to be around 3 years from now. Until you roll it out again in 10 years as vintage. Triple the price. It's like Air Jordans. What else? Anybody else have any thoughts, feelings about the names that he selected?
I think naming a business locally would kind of shoot you in the foot for expansion in the future.
Ooh, good point. Good point. Agree, disagree?
Disagree, because a lot of our fan base has no idea that we're based out of St. Cloud.
True. So I think your point is right on. If he went a step further though and said, you know, St. Cloud Threads or something like that, or if he really pigeonholed himself into a corner linguistically, then you're right. And a lot of companies make this mistake by like calling themselves something like, you know, vibrant, you know, positive USA or something like that, and then they're screwed because they try to go into Canada and London. It's like, it's kind of weird. I would just throw one more thing in. So naming, here are the 2 rules of naming, right? There's really only 2 things that need to drive your naming: thought process, strategy, decision making. Number 1, it's got to be different by a mile than everything else out there in your industry, right? If you sound similar at all with somebody in your industry, stop and rethink it. It doesn't do anybody any good, certainly not you, to be similar. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, what if it's similar to somebody that's really successful and already has great brand recognition? I can ride their coattails. No, you can't. You're going to get called out for being a chump and not being creative and innovative at all. So what's probably best is, just like in a Google Doc or something, just find everyone that is even similar to you. List them all out, all 10, all 20 of them, and just say, I'm not going to be anything similar to these at all. And what you'll probably find, because most industries are this way, is that most of them are all kind of similar already. You're like, well, that's cool. I'm going to be totally different than that. So number 1, you have to be different by a mile. There should be no confusion whatsoever. You have to stand on your own 2 feet. If you're going to break open this industry wide open, you're going to be the leader. You're not going to do that by blending in. And number 2, when I'm creating names for either products or companies, I've literally got 2 tabs open in my browser. I've got thesource.com, and then I've got a service called nameboy.com. Nameboy allows me to plug in 1 or 2, I think even 3 words, right? Like positive energy clothing or something like that. And it'll like mash that together. It'll do all these different combinations, and it'll find me what domain names are available. Getting a good domain name is super important. In fact, I could probably, those aren't in any order of preference. Those are both clutch. Those are both key, right? Domain availability should drive your naming decision, not the other way around. Do not come up with a name, fall in love with it, say, this is what I am, and then be like, okay, well, now I guess I got to go find a good domain name. Screw that. You're not going to find a good domain name. You have to do it the other way around. Let domain availability drive or dictate what your actual name will be. You got to get a good name. It's got to be a .com. Do not settle for a .net or .co. And I would say the only exception to that is if you get, like, if you find a really good .co that's available, like Vibe, karmathreads.com or something like that, and which is a pretty badass domain name, and it's probably unlikely it's available, but let's say it is, then grab it. So if you can find a good .co, then that's fine. That's like the only out. But otherwise, you got to find a .com. No .nets, no .business, no .me's, no .ios. So those are my 2 laws of naming. They're my laws and not anybody else's. That should dictate everything that you do. So do you have a domain right now?
Yep.
What is it?
Cloudyclothing.com.
Cloudyclothing.com. And so what's the name of your line again?
Cloudy Clothing.
Okay. I would think about maybe being open to changing that, and here's why. Cloudy Clothing is not bad, per se. I'm not tearing it apart and saying it's horseshit, I can't believe you even had the balls to think of it. What I'm saying is that I think you're leaving some value on the table, because cloudy means something to you, it doesn't mean anything to anybody else. And quite honestly, outside of this room, outside of this campus, outside of the city, cloudy has a totally different type of meaning, right? I mean, what does cloudy mean when you think of cloudy? When I say my life's kind of cloudy right now, what do you think?
Misjudgment?
Fury, down,
Okay.
raining on your parade.
Okay. And like confusing, not clear, unpredictable, maybe. So I would think about maybe not, although I see the inspiration, I get it. I would be open over the next couple of weeks to exploring other options. Cloudy is not terrible. It's just that there's way better available. There's way more directions you can go in. And a lot of it would have a positive connotation to the world, right? I mean, even karmathreads.com, I mean, like, I don't know if it's available, but I'm just saying, even that has a better positive connotation to the first-time visitor to your website, first-time visitor to your Facebook page, than would cloudyclothing.com. Because cloudy is either neutral or negative, right? And saying cloud is, everyone gets it. But for the rest of the world, they're not going to be so lenient and forgiving for you. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody disagree with me? Feel free to disagree with me. Like everything about my life is about.
I disagree a little bit because I think that if people get interested in cloudy clothing, they're gonna see kind of the styles right away when they go looking for it, or kind of that's the image they've built for themselves. That if you've kind of known what they've done all along, I think that it fits even better because it's kind of their own niche, and that people are really kind of addicted to that style and things like that, and I just think that it's kind of cool that way.
Cool. All right. So I dig it. So what you're saying is, for people that are already part of that club,
Yeah,
right? Like the name doesn't matter.
yeah,
That's what you're saying, right?
that's what I think.
Okay. What about everyone that's not part of the club?
I don't know, I think the people that are part of the club are gonna spread it out because they like it so much that they're kind of networking through their people, and it's just gonna spread that way.
I know, but shouldn't he make it as
Rely on
easy
that,
to be
though.
spreadable as possible?
What's that?
Shouldn't he make it as easy as he can to spread, and not self-inflict himself with any hurdles embedded in the name?
Yeah, I see that too.
Okay.
I see them both.
So I mean,
Yes.
keep in mind, it's not. There's no right or wrong, right? It's just like, well, and don't get me wrong. There's always better. Like, I would say, do not spend more than, if you start a company. I used to make this mistake. I would spend like months on my name and weeks on my logo. Like, I just totally just spent 20 times more time than I should have. You're never gonna get perfect. There's no such thing. You just want really good, right? Really good enough for you, and good enough for 5 smart people that you can go out and find and bounce it off them, and they're all like, yeah, I dig it, right? But until you get all 5 to say, yeah, I dig it, then maybe you got some rethinking to do. So I'm not saying I'm one of your 5. I'm just saying that I think that you should be open and sleep on this and think about it and talk to some other people about it. And that you don't want to inflict barriers from the get-go, right? You don't want a website that's tough to navigate, right? I mean, yeah, people that visit the website all the time will get the hang of it. What about the other 99.5% that don't visit all the time? So you don't want a website that's tough to navigate. And you don't want a name that might give off the wrong or a bad connotation when there's a million other ways you can go. So,
I think that it kind of works because the theme of the whole thing is about positivism. And so the normal, I don't know, the first thought, at least for me, when I think of cloudy is like being down and maybe that whole kind of mentality. And this is kind of the opposite of that. So it's like maybe, I don't know, like this is what you'd wear if you're down, or something like that. I don't know.
Like it's ironic.
Yeah, ironic.
I would say that you're expecting the customers to make quite a leap there. Like, and I get what you're saying. I almost dig like how secretly clever it is, right? There's a term that I'm in the technology world, right? I work with tech startups like nonstop. And so for them, you don't think about Instagram, right? Emily, or Path. How many of you use Path here on your phone? God, really? Seriously? Unbelievable. What do you guys use? What do you use for sharing photos? What do you guys use?
Instagram.
Huh?
Instagram.
Okay. Instagram. Like, Instagram worked insanely hard to make it really, really easy to onboard new users. Like, super effing easy. Like, one click. And the reason why is because I don't care what kind of business you want to minimize friction. Minimize friction. You want to make it so easy for them to understand what you're doing, so easy to buy, so easy to share with their friends, so easy to get what you're all about. Instantly. Don't make the customer work. In my world, we're on an endless journey to make every product, every tool, every social media, get-go, whatever, as frictionless as possible. We want to take friction out of the picture, not insert it in. Make it dead simple. Seconds, one click to sign up. One click to start using. One click to download to your mobile phone. One click to sign up with your email address. Less than 3 seconds. Like super duper quick, easy, frictionless, right? Everything about your business is, you got the whole world conspiring against you. There's 1,000,001 reasons why you're going to fail. And so try to make it easier on yourself by making every step from the second that a would-be customer is actually interested in searching for you. So that starts at Google, to the minute that they visit the website, make it easy, make it quick, make it frictionless, to visiting your Facebook page, make it easy, make it quick, make it frictionless, have some fun contests, have some good pictures on your Facebook page, make it easy for them to comment, always have like some kind of a question floating, question of the day, what do you guys think, what do you want to see, if you could have one wish, what would you ask, like make it dead simple, really easy for somebody to interact and do what it is that you want them to do. Because you're the guy, at the end of the day, as CEO, you're the only person that really knows what you want the customer to do. Make it super duper clear for them. There's actually another term in marketing, it's called unsupervised thinking. Never let your customer do unsupervised thinking. They should always know exactly what it is that you expect them to do, want them to do, and need them to do right now, right here. And when it comes to creating a brand from day one, I would just try not to have them have to think about what this name might actually mean. If that makes any sense. Okay, I'm going to let's talk about launch for a second. I think that one of the worst things that was ever invented was the word launch. Because in reality, I don't think you ever should be launching. I don't think there's ever should be a launch date. I think that it does yourself and everyone else a big disservice. Because what you're doing is you're dramatically increasing your own expectations about what sales will be like, traffic will be like, online engagement will be like. And it doesn't necessarily, your audience doesn't care. Your audience doesn't care when you launch. They really don't. I mean, they care when they can get access to be able to actually consume the thing, whatever the thing is. And they just want you to let them know at that time. But I think that necessarily the whole idea of a launch was dreamed up by some silly marketer that wrote a book on it and somehow it just caught. What's up?
I disagree with you.
That's cool. Dig it.
I just want to say quickly why I disagree with you, because I think Nick has built up such a hype for Cloudy. With their phrase, the beginning is near, and you see the date all the time, and the fact that there are so many people that, if anyone in here has a Cloudy shirt, they'll wear it, and somebody will say, when can I get that? How do I get that? That I think that there's enough people now that have seen it. I mean, it's been over a year that I've been seeing things for it. That the people want it, and that people actually know when it's happening, and they're constantly kind of reminding people of it. So that's why I disagree with you in this
Okay, good argument.
circumstance.
I like it. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Anything to add on top of that? For or against or neutral? The value of a launch and the value of promoting a launch date.
Will there be a rush right at the beginning? If
Planning
so,
on it, yeah.
Are you ready for the rush?
Yep.
Can you pre-order?
No.
Okay. So you actually changed my mind. Congratulations. In his case, which is a rarity, he's actually built a level of, he's inserted a new sense of meaning into this date, right? And it's by playing off the whole Mayan end of the world thing, which is part of the story that he's telling.